how much of this was already part of the announcement we saw back in 2015 from the UAW, in which they said they secured $9 billion in investment from Ford and 8,500 newer secured jobs?
Yes, well, the Michigan Assembly Plant announcement of the Ranger and Bronco production going there and the Romeo engine plant announcement were all part of the 2015 UAW negotiations. The data center investment that we announced today, $200 million to add to our capacity on data, is new news and was not part of those conversations.
So the new investment we're learning about today is $200 million in the data center.
Well, also the Michigan Assembly Plant investment dollars were taken up from $700 to $850 million as well.
Okay, so $350 million, basically an additional investment beyond what we knew about given the UAW negotiations from 15.
That's right, but we're confirming all of it today. But the $700 million investment we made in Flat Rock that we announced in January was also new and incremental to those 2015 UAW negotiations. So if you keep track of it all, we've announced $1.9 billion of new investment here in the state of Michigan just in the first 3 months of this year. And about $1 billion of that would be incremental to where we started from.
Why have you done it?
We're doing it because we invest in our communities here. We're proud to be a part of the state of Michigan and the U.S. We're the largest manufacturer of vehicles in the United States. And this is about the future, new trucks, new SUVs, and new capability to serve our customers with connectivity and mobility solutions. And of course, all that data coming from autonomous vehicles in the future.
Joe, you know, when you recently gave your outlook, there was some talk of increased long-term investment spending. Obviously, this is all part of the same strategy. To what extent is Ford envisioning a relatively rapid transition in the market to either alternative fuels or autonomous driving? I mean, how ready do you think you have to be very soon for all this?
Well, you have to put the infrastructure in place to be ready. I mean, for example, today we store 13 petabytes worth of data on our total company, and we're expecting them by 2021 to be able to handle 200 petabytes of data. So you can see the magnitude of change. That's why the data centers are going in. Autonomous vehicles, we've said we're going to bring out in 2021, so we have a few years to get ready for that. And then all electric vehicles coming, 13 new electric vehicles coming over the next several years, over $4.5 billion of investment. So we're getting ready for that future, but of course, as you know, customers are buying a lot of SUVs and trucks. They want to provide those alternatives as well.
Joe, we know you guys just had some disappointing guidance. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, what the struggles are with the company, you know, what's happening with prices in your market, and how that goes back to some of the announcements you're making here?
Well, we're expecting 2017 to be another strong year of sales in the United States, maybe down a little bit from last year, but still at a very healthy level. We've seen some stabilization in the pricing environment when you look at it net of revenue. So, for example, incentives are going up, but so is the transaction prices. So when you look at that on balance, it's been a pretty good start to the year, especially for Ford, given the strength of our new trucks, especially the Super Duty. We have said we're making big investments this year, which are going to weigh a little bit on the profits this year, but we expect 2018 to be an even better year.
I guess my point, though, is what's happening with the price of used cars dropping so much? It seems like there's a lot of supply there. Does that put pressure on your leasing business in particular? You know, you get the cars back and can't sell them for what you thought.
Yeah, we've seen that. Actually, it's stabilized lately, but we saw a lot of that last fall. If you remember, if you go back 3 or 4 years, people were leasing more cars, and so there's more cars coming back to the marketplace, smaller vehicles, and the demand right now is for SUVs and larger vehicles. So there's a mismatch between what was sold 3 or 4 years ago, it's coming back to the auctions, coming back to the used vehicle market, and what customers are wanting now. It's starting to stabilize now the last few months, and hopefully we'll see that stabilize for the rest of the year, although we expect it to come down a little bit more throughout 2017.
Wow. So you would say that when, you know, because when we look at these top level numbers and people start to worry, and we saw the share prices of all sorts of auto related companies really take a dive on this, that you would say, hey, look, it's an argument that there's a supply glut of the wrong kind of car. It's these small cars that nobody really wants today, and other parts of the market are doing better?
Yeah, we're seeing small cars and small SUVs under pressure in the used market over the last 6 months or so, but the bigger vehicles, SUVs and trucks, are doing well. And again, that's stabilized over the last few months. We'll see how it plays out this spring and summer. Hopefully it'll stabilize some more, but we have seen a mismatch. If you go back in time, they were selling more cars, and they're coming back now.
Mr. Hinrichs, this morning the president tweeted, big announcement by Ford today, major investment to be made in 3 Michigan plants, car companies coming back to the U.S., jobs, jobs, jobs. But when it comes to jobs here, I'm only seeing 150 being added. And again, that's previous to the announcement that you'd already made in 15 about the Romeo engine, correct?
That's correct. You know, the announcements in Michigan, though, do protect 3,600 jobs. That's a big deal. There will be some new jobs tied to the data centers. We haven't disclosed those. And of course, the January announcement added 700 jobs to Flat Rock. So over time, there's been a number of job announcements. But you are correct. A number of these were consistent with what we committed in 2015 with the UAW.
Right. So to those who would be cynical and say, you know, you're just trying to curry favor with the White House, what do you guys say?
Well, you know, we reached out to the White House for the first time a little before 8 a.m. this morning to let them know what we were planning to announce today. So we didn't have a conversation with them about any of this prior to that. Obviously, we're supportive of the pro-growth initiative of the administration around tax reform, infrastructure investment, those kinds of things. And we hope we'll see progress in those regards because they're good for the auto industry, but they're also good for the U.S. economy and good for jobs. But for right now, we're focused on executing what we promised to the UAW and to our shareholders around growing the SUV portfolio, growing the truck portfolio, and getting ready for the future with connected vehicles and autonomous vehicles.
Right. Okay. So you reached out at 8 a.m. even though the president was tweeting at 6:36. You must have known something.
Well, there were some leaks that came out last night. When you're dealing with the state of Michigan and all the local communities, it's a hard time to keep all this good news quiet. So I suppose he saw some of that news that was brought up before we made our announcement, before we reached out to him.
Understood.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.